This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Good afternoon. It's August 21st, 2025. Mental health is real. Seek help and the stigma. On the news this afternoon. Repair of Rivers Assembly Complex nears completion. Stakeholders set agenda for Governor Fubara as end of emergency rule draws near. Anambra dismisses 8 operatives over attack on core member. On the foreign scene, Palestinians flee Gaza City district as Israel says first stages of assault have begun. I'm Ifechukwu Muonyili with the news. Now, a media report says the building of Rivers State House of Assembly chamber has entered its final stage ahead of the September 18 end of the 6-month emergency rule in the state. The chamber was brought down in November 2023 by the government of suspended Governor Siminalayi Fubara, which declared it unsafe after suspected arsonists set it ablaze. The singular incident worsened the political crisis that rocked the state and attracted outrage from various stakeholders who saw it as a deliberate plot to dislocate the legislative arm of the government to avert Fubara's impeachment. Before his suspension on March 18, Fubara approved 19.6 billion naira for the reconstruction of the demolished structure. Now, work on the project was at an advanced stage when the governor was suspended. Since he resumed office as sole administrator of the state, retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ebas has been making effort to complete the project. On July 12, when he made a second assessment of the project, Ebas expressed disappointment over the pace of work and called on the contractor to improve its speed. However, a visit to the project site revealed that work was at the finishing stage. Workers were seen screeding and tiling the exterior of the complex. Also, the window, glass, and interior fittings had been installed. Meanwhile, as the countdown continues toward the end of the emergency rule on September 18, some stakeholders are sharing their expectations for suspended Governor Siminalayi Fubara's return to office. Social analyst Andy Abotive wants the governor to set up an advisory council made up of non-partisan voices. He told our correspondent Martha Okere that such a council would give the governor trusted advice that reflects the real concerns of Rivers people.
This advisory council would be the people who will get the feelers from the streets, who will get the pulse, as it were, from the people and communicate same to the governor. So the governor should come in and quickly be attending to issues that concerns and pains the people on the streets. Not issues that are brought to him by politicians, not issues that are brought to him by elders.
Abotive also says Governor Fubara has shown he is not the typical politician and should focus less on politics and more on fixing governance for the people.
You know, we understand that you have got to be of a certain ilk to be a great politician, particularly in Rivers State and in Nigeria. And the governor has proven not to be of that ilk. So the governor must get himself disentangled from politics and just focus on governance. By that, I would mean every form of noise, every form of distraction that will prevent him from delivering what you people call the dividends of democracy to residents and citizens of Rivers State. He should focus directly on fixing good governance for the people.
In the same vein, the chairman of the Defense for Human Rights and Democracy, Clifford Solomon, tells correspondent Emekotoka that he expects the governor to immediately tackle indiscriminate waste disposal and abandoned projects.
Upon the return of the governor, we expect that the health of River people should take prominence. River State is so filthy, Port Harcourt is so dirty, the air they breathe is polluted, and we want the contracts like the Trans-Calabar Ring Road, the Port Harcourt Ring Road, and the construction of Guguma, Tema, Degema, Abonima Road to be completed almost immediately. Whatever that has been holding that contract since the coming of the sole administrator should immediately commence upon the return of the governor. Then we want security to improve in the state.
Solomon also wants the governor to create jobs for young people and address insecurity in the state.
We want a situation where employment generation will immediately kickstart. The youth are jobless, youth are not employed, and we want meaningful engagement of the youth. And also, we want peace, absolute real peace. All the political gladiators should close ranks since they said they have reunited. They should reunite and face proper governance.
Also, on his part, right activist Charles Jaja says Governor Fubara should revisit his agricultural policy to boost food production and also strengthen healthcare delivery.
He must deliberately, look into those policies that are going to encourage people to return to farms and do some sort of agric for themselves. Because if you are going to say you want to revitalize the government-owned fungi farm and all that, it will take quite some time. And I know how government in Nigeria is run. Some persons may come and abandon that particular aspect.
Well, on the other hand, for the current occupant of the government house, Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas, retired, challenges remain. The Civil Liberties Organization in Rivers State says it has sued the sole administrator and the state government over their failure to reverse some of their actions. Now, chairman of the group, Sonny Dada, told correspondent Yobi Oruware that the lawsuit followed the expiration of the ultimatum issued to the government. He says part of their objective is for the court to determine if the sole administrator has the legal right to supervise and appoint members of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission.
It's a federal high court because especially when it has to do with violation of the Electoral Act, when it has to do with violation of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, we said we need a legal interpretation. Let the courts make a pronouncement on this. Let us know whether Mr. Abbas is within his rights or whether he has the legal authority to constitute the RISEC board in the manner he has done. If RISEC has the authority, serially violates provisions of the Electoral Act and even the Constitution.
Dada explains that their intention is to correct some of the actions already taken by the sole administrator.
The Civil Liberties Organization, in keeping to our earlier ultimatum, as at yesterday, we have commenced litigation process. Today, tomorrow, we'll be concluding the process. We made it very clear when we did our briefing, our interests is to see a river state that is governed in line with constitutional provisions. We're tired of the several illegalities that we wake up to see every day. There is so much disregard for the rule of law. The only weapon we have right now is the law court.
Now, recall that the CLO had earlier threatened court action if some of the appointments made by the sole administrator were not reversed, arguing they breached existing laws. At the same time, the chairman of the River State Independent Electoral Commission, Dr. Michael Ode, is asking election observers to be transparent and neutral in their work. He gave the charge during a one-day training for observers and journalists ahead of the August 30 council election, describing election monitoring as a key pillar of democracy.
Your presence here signifies a commitment to democracy, transparency, and accountability. Election observers serve as the eyes and ears of the public during elections by observing polling activities, reporting irregularities, and documenting compliance with electoral guidelines. You help to build public trust in the process. Your reports and assessments will not only enrich our knowledge of the conduct of elections, but also serve as a critical feedback for improving future electoral processes. We expect.
Now, also speaking, the failure and executive director, the facilitator and executive director of the Center for Credible Leadership and Citizens Awareness, Dr. Wabung Gabriel, urged participants to understand their roles and limitations during the exercise.
An election observer has the obligation to know exactly what to observe and what is important. Election observation is not about seeking for faults, but an objective assessment of the electoral process. The presence of observers in an election prevents and deters fraud, and this stimulates an open and transparent atmosphere, which could increase public confidence in the electoral process and its outcome.
Correspondent to Oruware reports that most of the observers were drawn from civil society organizations in the state. Still to come, Anambra dismisses 8 operatives over attack on Core Member. Stay with us. Now the rest of the news. The 8 operatives of the Agune Chamber security outfit who assaulted a female corps member have been dismissed and arrested. They were dismissed by the Anambra State Governor. The Special Advisor to Governor Chukwuma Soludo on Community Security, Ken Emakai, made this known today. Emakai said the government acted after receiving reports of the incident. He added that the operatives will be handed over to the police for prosecution. Now, earlier, Cyrus Ono, the lawyer for the female National Youth Service Corps NYSC member, Jennifer Elobo, who was assaulted by local security agents in Anambra State, says the perpetrators threatened to rape and kill her for speaking out during the incident. The lawyer also claimed that the Anambra security agents threatened to kill her colleagues for trying to defend her. In a video that went viral, the operatives armed with guns stormed the corps member's apartment in the Oba community in Anambra State. The agents, who were members of the Operation Udo Gachi, also known as the Agone Chamber Vigilante Group, were seen beating Elobo and tearing her clothes. The National Youth Service Corps NYSC has condemned the assault. In a statement, the NYSC said that there was no justification for such an action. The NYSC Acting Director of Information and Public Relations, Caroline Imbu, in a statement, is hoping justice will be done in the matter. She said necessary administrative procedures are underway to assist the corps member in question in managing the physiological and psychological trauma resulting from this unfortunate incident. And now to Ebonyi State. Police operatives have rescued 2 kidnapped students unhurt in the Ikwo local government area. According to the Commissioner of Police, CP Antonia Uche Anya, the rescue followed an intelligence report which led officers of the Ikwo Division to storm an uncompleted building where the students were being held. She told journalists in Abakaliki today that 3 suspects were arrested and remain in custody as investigations continue. In Katsina State, the death toll from the attack by bandits and worshippers at a mosque in Malufamshi local government area has risen. The death toll from the attack by bandits and worshippers at a mosque in Malafamshi local government area has risen to 50. The government disclosed this in a statement issued today after a delegation led by the Secretary to the Statement Government, Abdullahi Faskari, visited the Onguwar Mantao community. Faskari assured the people that the government will not relent in strengthening security and restoring lasting peace. Now, on the global stage, President Bola Tinubu has called for reforms at the United Nations Peace and Stability during the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TICAD-9, in Yokohama, Japan. Tinubu argued that Africa deserves 2 permanent seats with full privileges. Now, the president said the continent also deserves additional non-permanent seats in line with the Ezulwani Consensus and Sete Declaration. In business, the United States government says Nigeria's new minimum wage of 70,000 naira is too low to lift millions of citizens out of poverty. In its 2024 Human Rights Report released on August 12, 2025, the U.S. Department of State explained that the wage, which equals about $47.90 a month, has lost much of its value because of the falling naira. The report also pointed out that the enforcement of wage law is still weak across the country. In entertainment, after facing public backlash for 2 years, Naira Marley has released a tell-all video to share his side of the controversy over Mohbad's death and the criticism that followed. Looking back on the tragic event of September 2023, he said he was shocked and in disbelief when he first heard the news. Naira Marley also questioned why the police detained him, arguing that investigations should have focused instead on the people who were with Mohbad in the hours before his death. In sport, Arsenal are weighing up an offer for England midfielder Morgan Rogers, but Aston Villa will only entertain offers in the region of £80 million.
And now, we bring you news from around the world.
Palestinians are fleeing parts of Gaza City after the Israel military began the first stages of a planned ground offensive. Israel's troops have established a foothold on the outskirts of the city, which is home to more than 1 million Palestinians after days of intense bombing and artillery fire. It has prompted UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres to renew calls for an immediate ceasefire to avoid the death and destruction an assault would inevitably cause. Israel wants to signal that it is pressing ahead with its plan to capture all of Gaza City despite international criticism.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
That's a wrap on the news this afternoon. Before we go, let's have a look at the major stories. A media report says the repair of the Rivers Assembly Complex is nearing completion. Stakeholders are setting agenda for Governor Fubara as the end of emergency rule draws near. Now, we also told you that Anambra State government has dismissed 8 operatives over the attack on a corps member. On the foreign scene, you heard Palestinians have fled Gaza City districts as Israel says its first stages of assault have begun. The news was edited by Martha Okiri. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215. I'm Ifechukwu Muonyili. Many thanks for listening.